Me now are two members of the Problem Solvers Caucus, Democratic Congressman Dean Phillips of Minnesota and the caucus's co-chair, Republican Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick of Pennsylvania. Congressman Phillips, let me start with you. I'm disappointed not to see your live shot from the van that you showed us when we came to cover your campaign, but we do appreciate you joining us today on this issue. You are calling, of course, for a standalone vote on the bipartisan plan, but the Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, recommitted yesterday that she said she's not going to take it up unless she also gets the reconciliation bill from the Senate. Realistically, that's likely because she knows she doesn't have the votes if she brings up the bipartisan bill first. I mean, what good is it to bring the bipartisan bill to the floor if there are huge questions about whether it could even pass?
Well, Casey, first, part of this infrastructure plan is to improve the potholes on our roads so I can bring that van back out on the streets again. So I look forward to that. And frankly, the Problem Solvers Caucus is aligned with the White House, with the administration right now. We believe this is terribly important. America should lead, have the best infrastructure in the world, educationally, humanly, and economically, and this is a big part of that. I'm aligned with all of my Democratic and Republican colleagues on the Problem Solvers Caucus, Casey, that we should bring this bill to the floor for a vote. It should stand on its own two legs, as should a social infrastructure plan, which I favor. I believe we need early childhood education and many of the other elements of that. But we've got to show the country and, frankly, the world that we can still work together in the United States Congress. This is a fine opportunity to do just that. That's why I think we should bring it to the floor as quickly as possible, and that's exactly what the administration wants.
So, Congressman Fitzpatrick, as you watch how Senator McConnell is handling things over on the Senate side, I mean, he has promised a hell of a fight on the partisan reconciliation package of this. He has been a little more circumspect on the bipartisan bill, but it could easily turn against Democrats, and things could go south for the bipartisan plan, depending on what he does. How confident are you that the Senate is actually going to get this over to the House so you can act on it?
Yeah, thanks for having us, Casey. It's very simple. If a bill is worth its salt, then it should be able to survive an up or down vote on its own merits without being linked or delinked in any form or fashion. We have, for the first time in this 117th Congress and the first time in this administration, a bipartisan, bicameral bill that has Democrat and Republican support in the House, which our PSC has endorsed, bipartisan support in the Senate, which the G20 has endorsed, and the White House has endorsed it. And it just came out yesterday that the AFL-CIO and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, who don't agree on a whole lot, they both support this. So if we can't get this done, we can't get anything done. And that's why we want a standalone vote, up or down on the merits. And that's not to say that a second reconciliation bill won't come in the future, but don't tie the two together.
Congressman Fitzpatrick, do you think, these colleagues of yours who've got issues with it, it's about IRS funding. They don't want anything for the Green New Deal. It's pretty classic issues that we've heard before. I mean, how much traction do you think that's going to get inside the Republican conference?
They can study the bill. They can do whatever they need to, mark it up. That's what legislation is about. Put it on the floor, have every single member of the House and the Senate vote yes or no, and go back home to their constituents and answer for their vote. That's the only legitimate way to legislate. Once we try to muddy everything up by linking it to another bill, that's when things get really complicated. And by the way, Casey, it's the worst kept secret in D.C. that if you have any provision that can't survive an up or down vote on its own, you stick it into something else and you try to sneak it through. It's a very dishonest way of legislating. That's what our caucus stands against. We want our bill that the House and the Senate, Democrat and Republican centrist blocs in Congress, which is supported by the White House, give us a vote. That's all we're asking for.
Congressman Phillips, are you going to get that vote before the end of August?
Casey, we're sure as heck going to try. And as a member of Congress, it's analogous to being salespeople sometimes. We have to sell the product, and the product is this legislation. We have to work with colleagues of all different perspectives on both sides of the aisle to encourage their support. And I recognize why there's disappointment. There's going to be disappointment on anything that meets its mettle in the United States Congress. Probably won't be fully endorsed by the far right or the far left. We know that. But that's what we're here. We exist for this reason, Casey. 58 of us committed to working together. You can't work with people you don't trust, and you can't trust people you don't know. And that's what we're all about. Brian is my friend and colleague and brother in arms in this pursuit. And we've got work to do on both sides. That's my job. That's his job. That's all of our job. And we're going to get to it.
All right, Congressman Dean Phillips, Brian Fitzpatrick, thank you very much for giving us a little bit of kumbaya here on this Friday.